Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Coaching in Session. My name is Michael Reardon, and I'll be your life coach this evening. So, if you paid attention to the title of today, it's going to be Let's Talk, because we have a lot to talk about. And it's not so much because I need you to understand my views, but more so, how do you feel? Where are you in this whole situation? Because if you're in America, you're probably going through something. Maybe not, right? Maybe you're A-okay and there's no turmoil. But for a good majority of people, they have a lot to think about this weekend. And we can take sides. We can be in the left. We can be in the right. We can be in the mask side, on the unmasked side, or the pro mandates, against the mandates, anti mandates. But a lot is going on. So let's talk about that. And the question I want to ask is how or what is going on in the world that is pertinent to you? How does this pertain to you? And a common denominator is going to be yourself, your safety, yourself, your family's safety. When it comes to wanting to be safe, I'm pro 100%. Do what you got to do to be safe. I'm pro for that. However, when it comes to thinking that you're not going to be safe because of someone else, that doesn't make sense. Okay, so I'm going to give plenty of examples, and you can call me racist or whatever, but I'm going to use Black people, for example, right? So let's say you're going into the hood and you see some maybe gang members on the corner and you say, oh man, those gangbangers look like trouble. Better stay away. Okay, so you don't go there. Maybe you learn your neighborhood. You say, okay, I'm not going to go there. But then you have an idea. You say, you know what? I'm going to get rid of all the gang members in the world. And if you're a gang member, you're going to be euthanized, right? This is something crazy. Okay. There's people that think like that. Get rid of the problem. In our current situation, President Biden came out and mandated vaccines or negative COVID tests every week for any employee or employer who has over 100 employees. And that's difficult because what would happen if your health insurance doesn't pay for your PCR test or your COVID test or your rapid response test? And I understand most insurances will, but what happened if you didn't have that luxury? What would happen if you didn't want to get the vaccine because of religious reasons or personal reasons, and now all of a sudden you're out of a job? How is your life turned upside down? And it's very interesting when we look at how everything unfolded. And I'm not going to be political. We had our election. We voted for someone. That someone won. Or someone won. And that person is the president, right? Okay, for me, I'm all for whoever's the president. We back them, right? Because you don't have to like the person necessarily, but they should have the best intentions for everyone. And it's difficult to say if this president does. And I'm going to explain all that because it can get a little muddy. It can get a little muddy. So he has kept his word in, many of the areas he kind of promised. He pushed his agenda just like we knew he would. But I wanted to talk about the middle class people, right? The people who are making a livable wage, but are not wealthy, right? They don't have an abundance of wealth where they can just go on vacation every month, right? They're not financially free quite yet. It's a process. So these people are going to be struggling the most, especially what's happening right now. He said he wasn't going to raise taxes. Okay. He didn't raise taxes for anyone under 400,000 or something like that, or around there. I don't keep up too much, but I believe that's the number. So if you make less than 400,000 combined family, you're not going to get taxed over. But what about everything else? What about him shutting down the pipeline and then gas going up 41%? What about the inflation because the government keeps on printing money because if they stop, the economy will crash? What about the new bill, the $3.6 trillion bill that was passed? Whose money do you think that is? That's our money. How about Afghanistan? We're over there with the Taliban and they took all of the U.S. vehicles and weaponry, all that stuff. We bought that. So, yeah, sure, your taxes didn't go up, but your money sure as hell was wasted. And no one's talking about that because everyone's so concerned about who has a vaccine and who has a mask on and what's going on in your neck of the woods, because your wallet is in your neck of the woods. I don't know if you paid attention, but if you check in your wallet, gotta check your wallets there, because apparently the government is just going to spend as much as they want. They're going to buy whatever they want, and they're going to be as money happy as we will let them be. And it doesn't stop there. It stops with their understanding that the government is not for their agendas, it's for the American people. And that's why if 51% of the people voted President Biden in, then that means 49% of the people might not like what's going on, but the majority rule. Where's the majority right now? And I understand when it comes to wanting to protect yourself. And I have the inclination where most people who are getting this vaccine or wearing their mask are concerned for their health. That's my belief. Because you wouldn't just get it or wear it because someone told you to. Or would you? Because that's interesting too. If someone tells you to do something, you say, okay. But you don't ask any questions. You simply say they know best. But if you say they know best and they're actually steering you the wrong way, what's really going on? And I understand that we have experts. Experts who have got an education, experience, and they know everything. Because if we say anything bad about these experts, now we're slandering. Now we're putting out false information. And it's not so much false information. We're just asking questions. What I do is I ask questions. When I am talking to a client or a new client, especially new clients, they'll tell me their story and then I start asking questions. Not so much because I need answers, but because I need a better understanding of why are you thinking this way. And we're very careful with our words when we're talking to someone about what is wrong in their life, because it's going to be very specific. And I'm going to give an example about relationships just because that's what we're talking about. And then maybe politics too. In a relationship, if someone does wrong or the relationship ends, it is their fault. Okay? And yes, there's going to be a small minority group where they will admit that they did wrong. But the majority is going to say they did wrong. This person didn't love me the way I needed to be loved. This person wasn't able to give me the lifestyle that I wanted. This person cheated on me. Okay. Valid reasons to break up, right? It's not wrong. However, what did you do? Were you a perfect angel? Were you a perfect knight in shining armor? Were you without fault? And that's where we are. We are in the midst of fault. And we're so quick to point the finger at someone, a group of people, and say, you're the reason for this problem. And that type of thinking is negative because you give your power away when you do that type of thinking. That's why I say in a relationship, it's not your partner's responsibility to make you happy. That is your responsibility. Because if you tell them you're supposed to make me happy, guess what happens? You're giving your power away to be happy. And then when you're not happy, all of a sudden you say, well, they were supposed to make me happy. What happened? And this is what's happening in politics and the government. The same exact thing. You're giving your power away. You're giving your voice away. You're giving your reason away, not even questioning. Why is this so? Why is this happening? Because there's a lot happening behind the curtains that they're not telling us. What it is, I don't know. I'm not a psychic. But what I will tell you is there's going to be an inherent effect on your mind. Worry, fear, anxiety, depression, you name it. You're going to start feeling it even more. How many people, you could raise your hand if a thumbs up or nod your head. In 2020, you said, I can't wait to get out of 2020 because of the whole pandemic and the lockdown. And now we're in 2021. How many people are waiting for 2022? And if you're that type of person who's going to wait for the next year, going to wait for the next opportunity, you're going to be waiting for the rest of your life. Imagine yourself sitting at the bus stop waiting for a bus that never comes. Who's the fool? Is it the bus driver? The government? Or is it you for not figuring out what's going on and saying, all right, I guess the bus doesn't come to the stop anymore. I need to move. So understanding that you do not have the luxury of putting off your life for any particular reason should be prime enough example or a reason for you to go out and live again. In 2020, when they said they wanted to do a quarantine for 2 weeks. I said, okay, not a problem. Quarantine 2 weeks. I'll do my part. I don't mind. All right. Gave them a week, gave them 2 weeks. 2 weeks goes by. They said, guys, we're going to need a month, maybe 3. What? I just gave you 2 weeks. You said you were going to get it done in 2 weeks. Nope, sorry, 3 months now. Okay, so let's break that down. Let's say I was working with you and you were paying me money. Okay, so you're paying me $500 a month. Actually, no, you're paying me $500 a week. You're paying me $500 a week to get your results. Okay, you come to me with a problem and I say, okay, this is going to be the cost and this is what we're going to do to fix it. Let's get started. Okay. So week 1. All right. We're doing good. Everything's good. I tell you, hey, it's taking longer than, normal. We're going to have to add another week. Okay. Another week goes by. You give me another $500. Now you're at $1,000 in coaching fees. Okay. You try it out. Another week. And you were like, all right, I'm still not there. Like, what's going on? I said, hey, sorry about that. Yeah, you're just not moving the way I need you to move. So it's going to probably take a month to 3 months now. So anticipate that type of bill. You're going to be spending $2,000 a month on coaching for 3 months. You're like, what? I didn't sign up for that. None of us signed up for this. And then the rhetoric behind what they do, what they say. They say, you know what? You're going to stay inside and we're going to flatten the curve and we're going to do all this. And it's so funny, before the Democrats took office, they were pushing for lockdown. We need to shut down the country. We need to shut her down. Kamala Harris has tweets. I believe Biden might have put out something. I didn't see the Biden one, but I'm certain he did, saying we need to shut down for a short period of time. But you don't hear about that now. There's no lockdowns, yet they're talking about a 300% increase in numbers for COVID. It's funny how the numbers are low, lockdown. Now the numbers are so crazy. Everything open for business. Come on in. But you need to show us your vaccine passport. We talked about this. Nazi Germany. They had barcodes on their hands or numbers on their wrists, on their forearms, telling them which person they were. Oh yeah, you're a prisoner, this so and so. No. If you don't know anything about our country, and if you live in America, then you understand that we have rights, we have freedoms. And we're not going to simply give up our freedoms because someone says so. And if you do, you're a fool. Now, operate with logic, of course, because for me, 2020, all right, 2 weeks to flatten the curve. I'm all about that. Right? Let's get back to normal. Let's do what we got to do. 2 weeks goes by. They're talking about 3 months. I'm like, sorry, sweetheart. That's not going to work for me. I got things to do. I got money to make. So that's what I did. 2020, best year financially yet. That didn't happen by accident. It happened because I'm not going to sit down and be patient, be a good boy, and just do as I'm told. You have to understand what you want and then go after it. And it doesn't involve hating people. It doesn't involve shying away from people. It doesn't involve anything to do with separating yourself from society. You have to put in the focus, the work, the discipline in order to get what you want. And if you're so concerned about what someone else is doing and why you're not achieving at a higher level, your priorities are mixed up. They're screwed up. Because if you're not living the life that you should be living or want to be living, that's on you. Oh, but my state makes me wear a mask and I have to get a vaccine passport to go to a restaurant. Move states. Florida, South Dakota, Texas, Mississippi, Tennessee. You have options. And people fail to understand that business is driven by the people. The economy is driven by the populace. Because if we stop spending, the economy collapses. But if we're going to spend, the economy is going to do fine. So when does the spending stop? When are we going to say, okay, we're not going to buy anymore? Well, people have to get out of the habit of spending, because spending is a habit. And if you have already gotten that habit, then that means you need to unlearn that habit or replace that habit with something else. Because spending is going to give you an intrinsic feeling of, okay, I can afford this, or I bought this for me so I can go out and have a good time. It brings a lot of good things. However, the habit of doing it is going to be counterintuitive for your goals, especially if you're spending on material things. So let's say, for example, someone is interested in coaching. I say, okay, well, here's my fee. You join for the month, and this is how much it's going to cost. Send them the links and everything, and now they're thinking, well, it's like, well, that's a lot of money. I don't know if I can afford this. Yet, they're going to Apple, buying the latest iPhone, maybe the latest iPad, MacBook. Samsung just came out with a new line of phone, the foldable phones. You need one of those in your life, so you go out and you get one of those. Your car is kind of old, so you say, you know what, I need a new car also. And you're so quick to put yourself in debt where you're not going to invest in yourself. So understanding that part and investing in yourself, and you're not doing it, your priorities are all mixed up. And I'm not even talking about going to college. You don't need a college education in order to be successful. It has been proven time and time again that you do not need a college education to be successful, wildly successful. Look at the amount of people who did not go to college and are successful compared to the amount of people who went to college and what is their level of success. For me, college was a means to the end in the beginning, but then it was an understanding of myself, what I was able to accomplish, and then a goal. Because simply saying you want something and then you go out and you get it is going to reinforce your initiation process, where you're going to say, I'm going to initiate more in my life so I can get more. How many people go to a 9 to 5 and that's what they do for the rest of their life? Maybe you don't like that job, so you go into a similar field and you do the same thing, a 9 to 5. Well, what are you doing to build your empire? That's what I'm curious about. That's what I'm going to start asking questions about. What are you doing to build your empire? What are you doing to build the best life that you can be living? Because so far, everyone is going to be worried about what's going on in the world. Why are people not getting vaccinated or not wearing masks, or people are getting vaccinated or are wearing masks? People are so concerned about other people, but they're not concerned about themselves. And it doesn't make any sense. And it stems from how you were socialized. Peer pressure. You got to have the latest gear, sneakers, shoes, jeans, tops, always new. Every day. Otherwise, that's old news. Now everyone's making fun of you and you're being bullied. And now your self-worth is at an all-time low because you don't fit in with the environment. You don't fit in with what your peers, your society is telling you at the time. And it takes a very strong individual to say, you know what? I'm satisfied with what I'm doing right now. And I don't need to prove myself to anyone. The only validation I need is the validation that I put in the best work I can put in each and every day. And I'm the judge. And I'm the receiver, or I'm the recipient of the award, the prize that I gain at the end of it. But everything's all a mess. Everyone's mind is a mess. Everyone's so worried about, are they going to lose their job? Are they going to be able to fit in with society, be a part of the society that is being built? They're so concerned about that. And they're putting their life on hold. I won't forget, one of my friends was on Facebook or something. They said after 2020, they said after a year, they're like, I finally get to hug my mom, right? Because they're vaccinated. So you didn't hug your mom for a year. All right, cool. The fear is there. The fear is real. If you make people fear, they're going to say, oh my goodness, I can't see my family. I can't hug my mom. I have to wear a mask. I have to get a vaccine. I have to get 100 vaccines. The fear is there. When you go to a news channel, we talked about this, but we're going to talk about it a little bit more. We're going to show just one more time again what happens with news, because I think people forget that when it comes to news, it's about how long are you going to read, right? How many ads can we show you before you say, okay, I had enough? So let's get into some CNN stuff. So let's type world, right? Let's see what comes up. First thing, Cuba begins vaccinating children as young as 2. That's interesting. Okay. Yeah. So what Cuba does now, we can do. Okay. Understood. That's what they're going to probably, try to push. Right? Lebanon gets a new government. Yay. Where's our military equipment? What else? All this Taliban stuff. Et cetera, et cetera. Cyclones. pandemic. I mean, where's all the good stuff? A woman stole his dog. What? Where's the good stuff? Where's the positive stories? Maybe you might think this is positive, but traumatizing a kid to get a vaccine, I'm not sure where that's positive. So let's just CNN. I go to Fox, I can show you there. I can go to NBC, I can show you there. I can go to ABC, I can show you there. You click the news and it's negative. Just like your mindset. Because the mind is naturally negative. We talked about it. If anyone says, hey, we need to talk, what's the first thing that comes in your mind? Negative. You're probably thinking, well, what did I do? Or I hope everything's okay. It's not, oh, things are going to be fine. Yeah, they're just talking to me about this. It's going to be like, what did I do wrong? What's going on? So many possibilities, many situations. But our mind is going to focus more so into the negative than it is going to be to the positive. And you have to train your mind to focus on the positive. So I was on a little rant, a spiel, just on all the stuff that's kind of encompassing the world. And my goal is not to hit you with things you already know. With rhetoric you already understand. You can watch CNN, ABC, Fox News, whatever. I'm sure you get enough of that type of news. But what you do with that news is important. Do you let it affect you, or do you understand what you heard, maybe make preparations, but you don't let it alter your character? And your character is going to be your most profound person. It's what you want the world to see you as. Are you a hero or are you a villain? And if you can imagine, everyone needs to have a hero in their life and they need to have a villain in their life. And if they're the hero, they need to find a villain. They need to find a reason to fight. We have a reason right now. The government gave us one. And I'm not talking about physical fights. I'm not talking about trying to hurt anyone. We're just talking about in our minds. Simply understanding the good and the bad in the situation. Because if you don't understand what's going on, then how can you come up with a solution? So your character is who you are. Your character is not going to change simply because something happened. It takes time to change your character because your character is going to be the closest resemblance of your true self. The self you're going to show the world, or people are going to see when they see you. They're going to say, oh, wow, this person's very nice. Or this person's a jerk. Right? What is your character? And if you can understand your character, then you can start to see where it sways. For example, I am a very friendly type person. I don't mind having conversations. I can fit into any crowd. I'm self-sufficient. And when it comes to dealing with any amount of people, easy. People have fun. People don't leave with a bad impression on me. They don't say, oh, this person is ghetto. This person is a bad person to hang around. typically they don't get that. And if someone said anything bad about me, the people who know me, they'll say, "What are you talking about? You're wrong. He's not like that." Okay, that's my character, right? But how would it look if I was going against my character? Maybe I'll be kicking puppies and getting tattoos on my face and driving fast cars at 1 a.m. and popping off 180s. Who knows? I don't know. I don't even care to know. But people are going off the edge so drastically. I was watching a clip where someone was doing like a fake petition, and he was going along the boardwalk and he was asking people to sign a petition to jail people who didn't get a vaccine or refuse to get the vaccine. As you can understand, it was mixed, right? People said that's not right. If they don't want to get the vaccine, that's their choice. This is America. And then certain people said they should be thrown in jail so they can learn a lesson. That is your character. So unless you are like that all the time, I'm sorry, number one. But number two, if you're not fighting for your fellow person, your fellow American, your fellow brother or sister, what are you doing? Are you so concerned about what you're doing in your life that you don't pay attention to everything that's around you? Because only your feelings matter. You don't mind swearing at someone, spitting at someone. You don't mind cutting someone off on the highway where they almost get in an accident, but you don't care about them. You don't care that they have a 4-year-old in the back. You don't care that maybe they're coming from the hospital and one of their family members had died. You don't care about that. We have lost the ability to sympathize with the person next to us. I understand why you do something. And that's fine. That's your belief. That's your truth. But if you fail to understand why I have my belief, my truth, what are we doing? We're literally going in a circle now where we're saying what I want and what I say is going to be what is. And we talked about relationships and having the same values. So if someone doesn't have the same values in a relationship, it's not going to be a good relationship. Are you going out with everyone in the world? So why are you so concerned about their values? And we have laws here in America where you should follow the laws. You shouldn't be breaking any laws because that's illegal, number one. But there's consequences for that. But how all of a sudden there's these made up consequences for people who are just living their life? People who are just walking down the street, now they have consequences. That's where the whole Black Lives Matter movement kind of got traction, but it kind of frayed off and money took over. It wasn't so much of fixing the problem, but how much money can we make? And I understand money can turn the sweetest of people evil. Because evil is one of those things that if you don't know how to control, it's going to consume you. That hate, that despair, that depression, all those negative things will consume you if you do not know how to maintain it. And then either rid yourself of it or manage it. And this is where people struggle. Therapist offices out of the door lines. You might have to wait a month to get a therapist. They're busy. Why do you think the world is so negative and depressed? Because they're going against their characters. They're going against their own thoughts, against the people they thought they were. And they're finding out, maybe I'm not this person that I thought I was. So who am I? Anxiety, depression sets in. And it's going to continue to be that way. So what can we do to fix it? Because we know the situation, we know the problem, but what is the solution? And the solution is to find your true self again, who you really want to be at the end of the day. Who do you want to be in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? You're not going to be worried about the gang members on the street. You're not going to be worried about the people who did or didn't do what you felt they should have done. This could be about you. What have you accomplished? And if you cover your bases and you shine the same way you did on day one, you're good. People are so concerned about everyone else, but when it comes to them, they're like, oh, I forgot. Oh, I didn't know. And it's not so much about doing your part, because that whole rhetoric of doing your part is ridiculous. You need to do your part and not rely on the government for an unemployment check. You need to do your part and help out your society and your local community to make sure everyone is on the same level. And I'm not saying that you need to give yourself or your money, but the people you keep around you, that's going to help elevate you. People fail to understand that. If you hang around bad people, guess what? You're not going to be going up. Unless you're snakes. The snakes are just out to get the best prey. That's a metaphor. If you know a person who's a snake, Google it. Urban Dictionary. Do not be fooled by the news, by celebrities. They're not you. They don't have the life that you have. And what I'm telling you is to make your own choice. And whatever you decide, allow your choice to be your choice. Not someone else's choice. Not someone else's opinion. Not someone else's need to do what you think is right. They're going to do what they're going to do. And at the end of the day, if you can say you're good, then you're good. I read it was like a quote or saying on Instagram. And this is a old saying. It was a wise man said, a bee doesn't waste its time telling flies that honey is better than poop. It tastes better than poop. But people are just going to keep on being flies. And they could be like, oh, this stuff is great. This stuff is great. That is the scraps you're living in. That's the complacent lifestyle you're living in. And I'm telling you that you can get out of that lifestyle. But at the same time, I'm not going to force you to get out of that lifestyle. If you want to get out, cool. Listen. Figure out the process you need to take. Get some coaching. Read some of the blogs. Watch some of the videos. You can get there without me. But at the same time, will you get there? How many New Year's resolutions have you accomplished in your years of living or your years of creating a New Year's resolution? I guarantee you didn't accomplish every single resolution. because it's always going to be a process in those resolutions, because those resolutions are not something that's going to be easy. Because if your resolution is to start going to the gym more, that's not really your resolution, because you're going to start going to the gym January, February, March, and you didn't get the results. So next year you say, my resolution is to get in shape. You need to start to be more definitive in what you want in your life, and then understand what you want, and then go after what you want. People are so quick to half-ass what they're doing, or half-ass their life, or half-ass their potential because it feels all right. Yeah. Being lazy feels good. But if you could be uncomfortable for a certain amount of time and live your best life down the road in abundance for many more years than it took for you to suffer or to go through some type of hardship, the challenging part of life, I tell people to go through that challenge, to go through that struggle, to knock over those obstacles, and then get to the end, get to the part where they want to be on the top, because that's where you should be. And if you want to stay in the bottom, cool. My job is not to help you. Hold on. So my job is not to help you understand, hey, this is a better view. If you like being on the bottom, cool. Your prerogative. If you like being upset at every little thing, cool. Your prerogative. If you like to believe false beliefs, cool. Your prerogative. But at the same time, if all those things you're doing are not allowing you to be a better person, what do you really want in life? And if you're struggling with that type of thinking, hire a coach. Go see a therapist. And simply email me, coachinginsession@gmail.com. We can work through the process. It's not going to cost you anything. Maybe just a minute to write the email. But that's nothing. You could do that while watching a Netflix series. So it's not so much about I'm doing this because I want you to understand you're living a life of lies. It's because you have so much more potential to live a life of desires, your desires. Because right now, your desires are not being fulfilled, are not being met. There's something you want. There's something you need. And are you going out and are you trying to get it? Or are you simply saying, no, I'm good. I'll take what I can get. I'll be a good boy or I'll be a good girl. And if I can get something cool, that's good enough for me. I never knew good enough was sufficient for a person. You should thrive or strive for perfection. And not necessarily perfection where you're a perfectionist and you're saying, if it's not perfect, I'm not going to do it. Or if it's not perfect, I won't be happy. You aim for the top. And as long as you keep aiming for the top, you're going to keep on rising. You're going to keep on going. Because if you're walking in the direction you're looking most of the time. I'm sure if you're over the age of 18, you're going to be walking in the direction you're looking. Kids like to run backwards. They're little rebels. But for us, if we can look up, if we can look forward, if we can look at the life we want, we can go and get it. So start to think about that. Start to think about what have you been told, what you have been fed, and is it true for you? Because there's no time to be afraid anymore. There's no time to worry about if you're going to die, because you're going to die anyway. Your life was never promised to be eternal. You were born in this world and you're going to leave this world too. And people fail to see that. People think they have one more day. They have one more year. One more chance. What if this is your last chance? What if today is your last opportunity? Do not squander it, because you gain nothing from wasting time. So if you have any questions, send me an email, coachingasession@gmail.com. If you need any coaching, revenconcepts.com, or you can always email me at revenconcepts@gmail.com. Same thing, but plenty of options for you to get free resources, get some coaching. You can head over to the membership tab on my website to see what you can afford for monthly coaching. There's plenty of options for every step of life, or for every person, wherever they are. Some people need a lot more coaching. Some people can deal with the minimum, right? The bare minimum. And if you think that you only need a push, bare minimum is fine. If you think you need someone to hold your hand, then you're going to probably want to look at more of the higher tier plans. So that's my recommendation. I'm going to stick with it. Everyone, I want you to have a wonderful weekend. We have Saturday and Sunday. We had Labor Day and Monday. So this week felt really long for everyone, because it always is a longer week when you have a day off on Monday. Take some time to understand yourself better. Take some time to read and meditate. Do what you need to do in order to feel complete. Do what you need to do in order to feel relaxed. Because when Monday comes, you don't want to feel like, oh, Monday. You want to say, yes, Monday.